You've submitted your student loan application, and now you're in that anxious waiting period, staring at your tuition due date and wondering when that crucial approval will come through. The clock is ticking, and you need to know if you should be patient or if you need to start making frantic phone calls. The truth is, the approval timeline isn't one single answer. It is a multi-stage process that depends entirely on one thing: whether you're applying for federal or private student loans. One path is a slower, methodical, system-driven process with multiple checkpoints. The other can be as fast as a few business days but comes with significant trade-offs. In this video, we're going to map out the entire timeline for both federal and private student loans. We'll start from the moment you hit submit on your FAFSA and walk you through each step, giving you realistic timeframes and, more importantly, the pro tips you need to avoid unnecessary delays that could put your semester in jeopardy. Understanding this timeline is key to planning your finances and reducing your stress levels as you get ready for school. Let's start with the federal student loan process, which is the one most students will use. This isn't a single event, it's a journey with several distinct phases. Phase 1 is FAFSA processing. Once you hit submit on your free application for federal student aid, the government needs to process it. If you submitted it online and used the IRS data retrieval tool, which automatically pulls in your tax information, this is relatively fast. You can typically expect to receive your student aid report, or SAR, by email within 3 to 5 days. If you filed a paper FAFSA, it can take 7 to 10 days. This SAR isn't your loan approval, it's a summary of the information you provided and shows your student aid index, which colleges use to build your financial aid package. The real waiting begins in Phase 2, the school's financial aid offer. This is often the biggest variable in the timeline. After the school receives your FAFSA data, their financial aid office must review it and put together your personalized financial aid offer. This can take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months, depending on the school's volume and efficiency. This is why the #1 pro tip for federal aid is to file your FAFSA as early as possible, ideally right when it opens on October 1st. Schools have limited funds for grants and work-study, and while loans are guaranteed, getting your application in early gets you to the front of the line for processing. Once you receive your financial aid offer from the school, which will include any federal loans you're eligible for, you then move to Phase 3, accepting the loans and completing requirements. You'll log into your student portal and officially accept the loan amounts you want. But you're not approved yet. For first-time federal student loan borrowers, there are 2 more mandatory steps: completing entrance counseling and signing the Master Promissory Note, or MPN. Entrance counseling is an online interactive tutorial that explains your rights and responsibilities. The MPN is the actual legal contract for your loans. Both can be completed online at Student Aid. In about 20 to 30 minutes each. Once you complete these steps, your school will then certify your loan. This is where the school confirms your enrollment and loan amounts to the federal government. The entire process from you accepting the loan and completing the MPN to the school certifying it and the loan being officially approved can take a few days to a couple of weeks. So, to summarize the federal timeline, FAFSA submission to financial aid offer can be weeks or months, and then from accepting the loan to final approval can be another 1 to 2 weeks. The key is that for returning students who have already signed an MPN, the process is much faster, often just requiring you to accept the loans in your portal for the year. Now, let's talk about private student loans. The approval timeline here is completely different. It's all about speed and credit. When you apply for a private loan from a bank, credit union, or online lender, you're filling out a standard credit application. The lender will run a hard credit check and, for most students, will require a creditworthy cosigner. The initial conditional approval can be incredibly fast, sometimes within minutes if there's system call. And auto-approved based on the credit score and income information provided, however. This approval is just the first step. The lender then has to send the loan application to your school for certification. The school must verify your enrollment, your cost of attendance, and confirm that the loan amount you're requesting doesn't exceed your available financial aid budget. This school certification step is the wild card in the private loan timeline. Depending on how busy your school's financial aid office is, this can take anywhere from a few business days to several weeks. This is a critical point that many borrowers don't realize. The lender might approve you in 5 minutes, but you're still waiting on the school to give the final green light. A pro tip for private loans is to apply well before your tuition due date and to choose a lender that has a streamlined electronic certification process with your school, as this can sometimes speed things up. Once the school certifies the loan, the lender will give you a final approval and you'll need to sign your loan agreement. The entire private loan process, from application to final approval, can realistically take anywhere from 2 weeks to a month, with the school certification being the biggest variable. So, what's the bottom line timeline? For a first-time borrower using federal loans, you should start the process months in advance. File your FAFSA in October, expect a financial aid offer in the spring, and complete your entrance counseling and MPN as soon as you accept the offer. For a returning student with an existing MPN, it's much faster, often just the time it takes to accept the new loan in your portal. For private loans, while the credit decision is fast, you should still allow a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks for the entire process, including school certification, to be safe. The most common reason for delay in either process is missing or inconsistent information. Double-check your social security number on the FAFSA, ensure your name matches your official ID, and respond immediately to any requests for additional documentation from your financial aid office. The approval is just the final step before the money is dispersed to your school, which itself usually happens right around the start of the semester. By understanding these timelines and planning accordingly, you can ensure your funding is secured well before your first tuition bill is due. Before we finish, a critical disclaimer: I am not a financial aid officer or a loan processor. The timelines discussed are general estimates and can vary significantly based on the institution, lender, time of year, and your individual application. You must always communicate directly with your school's financial aid office and your chosen lender for the most accurate and specific timeline information. The responsibility for meeting all deadlines and ensuring your funding is in place ultimately rests with you, the borrower.